see what is available to me and what's not. Let me see what I want to continue, what I want to take with me on my journey, and what I don't. Are y'all really like sciencing it out? 20 Toya 4. I like that, Toya. Oh, you put your name in it. Manifest your own reality by infusing your own name. Let me see.
From the very beginning, child, starting with Toya, who is fucking drop dead beautiful. It don't make no sense. Toya could be no makeup on, real hair, sitting in like a fucking muumuu with holes in it, and she is just stunning. From the very beginning, child, starting with.
Pull this down so y'all can hear me. Hi, coming at you live from my mom's living room on the couch. Ow. Uh, Good evening. It is a Sunday evening. I am coming back to you all for some more or with some more content. Shout out to Red Pill Sleeper Cell. He was the first one in the building. First one in the building. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Happy Sunday. Shout out to Indigo Flow. He was the second one in the building. And trying to be a fit mom. Ow, coming in third, rounding out the top three. I love it. And shout out to that avatar. I think I said that to you the last time, but I'm going to say it again. You look great, babe. You look really good. Um, yeah, so here I am coming at you guys. And I would like to cover the Diddy of it all. But first, I want to give a shout out to the art of dialogue. I'm bringing this up because I'm going to play some moments from this sit down because I watched it earlier this morning and I was so compelled by it. And I felt like this was a really good way to talk about the subject without talking about the subject, if you know what I mean. Because I think everything else that I see everybody covering is about the salaciousness of it all. And I kind of just want to go into it from a place of um, my adjacency to not Puffy necessarily, but the time period, right? I grew up during the bad boy era, and I was very much into a lot of what Bad Boy was doing at the time. Um, Biggie's death, so on and so forth. I don't want to get into it too soon, but yeah, I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna react to this sit down from Freddie P that the Art of Dialogue did. So if you look in the description, I have this linked in the description. Shout out to the Art of Dialogue, fair use. I'm doing this because, like I said, it was very impactful and so I felt like it would be a great idea to touch on the subject without getting too deep into what everybody else is doing, like, the lube of it all, the cease and desist of it all, the consent of it all. I don't really want to get into any of that because I know there's plenty of stuff online right now talking about that. And then there's probably going to be more that will come out further. So yeah, like I said, really like this interview. And again, shout out to the Art of Dialogue. Um, yeah, I dig that platform too. I do too. I hadn't realized that I had watched other things from them before until I started clicking around on the page to give them props on this stream so that I could shout them out as a channel, but then also direct people to this specific sit down. Um, yeah, I dig the platform too. I'm not surprised that you do, Indigo Flow. We tend to be on the same page about most things, so that doesn't surprise me. Shout out to Indigo Flow. Aria says, "Thank you. It's the yellow. Yellow is my color. Yellow is all of our color, honestly. If you have melanated skin, yellow looks good on you. Now, I won't say all yellows because it really just depends on your undertone, But yeah, I mean, I'm not giving it to the color, babe. I'm giving it to the face. I'm looking at the face. I'm looking at the face. You look good down there, sis. You look good. It's the smile, it's the hair, it's the glasses. All of it's working. All of it. Has nothing to do with the color. Sorry, babe. You're just pretty. So yeah, I actually wrote down some timestamps because I don't want to play the entire sit down. It's only 18 minutes worth of a video. So if you have the time, just go ahead and watch the whole thing. Drop them a like. And if you aren't subscribed, go subscribe. There's lots of other content on this channel, plenty to choose from. And I'm sure there's somebody that they've already interviewed that you know and like. So you might learn something new about somebody that you already know and like. Um, and then after we get through this, I am also going to do a breakdown of some lyrics from the No Way Out album, Puff Daddy and the Family No Way Out, uh, which came out in July of 1997, forever ago, right? Crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna go into some of those lyrics. I'm going to discuss the connection between what's happening to him right now and what's in those lyrics. And then I may drop the link. I'm not sure. It's 6:52. I don't know if I'm going to feel up to doing like hours and hours worth of a stream tonight, but we'll see what happens after I get through the line items for tonight. Okay? Okay. Aria says, I used to love Freddie P's rap style. I was big on watching reality TV back in those days. Same, same. Making the band came out, I think, when I was in college. I think. I feel like I remember watching it with my sweet mates. So I'm not saying every iteration of the show came out when I was in college, but I'm pretty sure this particular one where, Freddie P was on, yeah, I think I remember that being during my college years. That seems so long ago. Oh my gosh. I feel like I've lived at least one other lifetime since then, but I digress. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for hitting the like button. And thank you for subscribing. I'm so glad you're here. I wanted to cam up for today's show just because I haven't done so in a little while. And so here I am, cammed up, but really small because I just want y'all to pay attention to the video. So, in the interest of not dilly dallying any further, wait, before I get into it, let me think if there's anything. Two things. Okay, so today I went to run some errands, and on my last errand, I stopped at Krauser. Shout out to people who know what Krauser's is. Um, and there was a guy sitting in Krauser's because the Krauser's that I go to has like a picnic table on the inside for people to sit at for whatever reason. I know they all don't have that. They usually don't, but this one does. Um, and there was a guy sitting there, and I said, "Hi, how are you doing?" Well, I said hi to the store clerk first because I know the store clerk. And then I saw him and I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And he's like, "Fine." I'm like, "Oh, it's a great day. It was very sunny day out. It was like 75 degrees here in Jersey. Nice. Not warm enough for my blood, but it was nice." Um, and so on my way out, I complimented that same guy on his shirt. He had like a pink magenta polo shirt on, but the color was nice and it really looked good on him. But it was just like, wow, that's a nice color shirt. And he was very like curt with me. He didn't say thank you. But he mumbled something and I was just like, all right, cool. And I guess his wife was there and like she walked up after I was literally almost out of the door. Um, but it made me think like, dang, you can't even pay a man a compliment without him thinking you trying to shoot your shot. because that's definitely not what I was trying. He wasn't cute, guys. But like, I wasn't trying to shoot my shot. I literally was just trying to pay him a compliment. It was a beautiful day. I wanted to spread a little cheer, whatever. Then when I got back home hours later, um, I went to go bring the trash can to the front, and I noticed that there was two fire engines across the street, like adjacent to the house. And one of them had just pulled off. The other one was still parked, but had the lights on, like it was about to. And as I'm pulling the trash can, uh, the driver says something to me. I didn't hear what he said, but I looked up and he goes, "Oh, I would have brought that out for you." I was like, "Oh, thank you." He was like, "Do you have any more?" I was like, "No, it's just this one." He was like, "Oh, all right. Well, take care." And I thought that was nice. It was nice. He was a good-looking fireman. Who knows if he was single? I didn't ask. He just drove off or whatever. But that was like, oh, that was nice. That was a good rebound from what happened earlier. Like, not that I took it personally, you guys, but I'm just trying to clue you guys in on my day before I get into the topic, and while I wait for some other people to pile in. Um, I'm a normal person just like you. I go through the day and I have small talk with strangers all the time because that's just kind of the person I am. But anyway, shout out to the 18th letter. He said, shout out to Toya. I love it when 18th letter comes through the building. I know you over there working hard and doing what you got to do, but I appreciate seeing you whenever I do. Freddie P was my favorite one for making the band. It was Dylon at first, but dude was not consistent. You know what? I think we witnessed him become more consistent because I think he probably suffered some things due to that inconsistency. But I think that's a fair assessment. I think most of us who watched the show would agree with you there. So yeah, we had curry goat, cabbage, and rice and peas for dinner, you guys. I want y'all to know I'm full. I don't have a food baby necessarily right now, but I am full and feeling good and looking forward to dessert after I finish this stream. Because you know how that meme goes, like the urge to after you eat for something, a little something sweet. I'm that girl. I'm always like, okay, sign me up for the whatever the sweet is. I might eat like a little morsel of my dinner just so that I could save enough room for the something sweet afterwards. Guilty. Guilty. Shout out to Dr. D in the building. Hey, Dr. Dunbar. You did say you would come through and you did. Shout out to holding your word, keeping your word. I love when people do that in general. All right, so I'm gonna mute myself up. Gonna play a little bit of the beginning before I get to the timestamps. I just want to like let them get into it a little bit so that you guys can refamiliarize yourselves with Freddie P if you don't remember him. And then we'll get into I have one, two, three, four, five, six different timestamps that I want to get to and talk about. Okay, cool. Again, thanks for coming, thanks for liking, thanks for sharing, and thanks for subscribing. Oh, Dr. D says he's jealous that I had that for dinner, breakfast for dinner tonight. That's, you know what? I was earlier this morning, I was watching a video on breakfast lasagna, and I'm not gonna lie, I cringed at it. It was a lot going on. They were layering pancake batter, eggs, sausage, bacon, uh, maple syrup, uh, I don't think I saw any cheese go in there, but it was just a lot of layers. And by the time it was done, I honestly felt like if you ate it, it would feel like a brick in your stomach. Not that that's what you're gonna have for dinner, but when you typed that, it made me think of the video I watched earlier today. I think breakfast for dinner is always a good idea, a fantastic idea, especially for someone like me who rarely eats breakfast. I'm just not a breakfast girl. Um, I love that. I love Waffle House for that reason because I will go to Waffle House at 7 p.m. and have me a hash brown bowl. Love Waffle House. Love it. And I will squeeze my little apple juice box into a cup with some ice because that's the only apple juice you can get at Waffle House. It comes in a box. Those who know, know. But I hope your dinner's really good, Dr. Dunbar. All right, let's get to the video.
My guy, Freddy P, man. Let's get right into it. Diddy, he got indicted. How you feel about that?
Sh- it was a surprise to me, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like when you see Puff, it's kind of a surprise. But like I told my brother, man, he was telling me he don't think Puff gonna get locked up. I say, bitch, they got Chapo. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling you earlier, they got Chapo. They could put Chapo under the ground. They can hide Puff. But it was it's just long overdue. Like for a while, it made me kind of question, like, damn, it's to the point where it felt like they forced the feds to do their job. He forced the feds to do their job because if they didn't do it, everybody looking at them like, what? Do you motherfuckers exist? You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine he approached these guys who going through financial situations, these rappers who get themselves start making a lot of money. Then when things don't be um hot no more, you fall back on people like him. He prey on you. And what he do is he offer you things to keep up a lifestyle. You can imagine Puppy Playboy. Playboy, don't worry, man, don't worry about that, man. I can get us come with me to the island, Playboy. Come chill with me. Won't be no security guard, no nothing. Won't nobody know about your business. Hey, don't worry about that. I'll wire that, Playboy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So, right there, he's just talking about what he has witnessed in terms of what Puffy was able to do with his um, influence, with his access, with his resources. The fact that so many people were okay with things because he was able to be a fixer in some ways. He would readily just go ahead and wire you money or take you to an island or whisk you away in some other way. Um, so yeah, I wanted you guys to hear that part because this is coming from someone who was at one point in the inner circle. So I'm sure he witnessed a lot, and we'll get to some of the things that he witnessed a little bit later on. Shout out to UFO Kamikaze in the building. Good evening. Good evening. Valiant Thor says, "Is it a crime to lubricate that which is not lubricated?" I don't think so. I wouldn't say so.
So it's a lot of rappers out here that got secrets because they fell into them situations with Puffy. And I know this personally. Like I know personally, but like I say, a lot of stuff that I know, like I knew a lot of stuff that came out this week. We was talking about. I was like, man, I've been knew that. I've been knew about the girl that came out. She was just afraid to tell her story for a long time. Like I knew, sir, when you're in a circle, like the band is like you know what I'm saying? So things that transpired in a band, because they work with people that we worked with, you know what I'm saying? It gets back to us. And not only that, I done been on the phone call and hear people explaining their situations, crying about, situations. And it only gonna get worse. Like I was telling people, like it's hard to say because I don't want to spoil what's coming up. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to. I just want to say this. Like I said, it gets deeper and deeper.
Ooh, it gets deeper and deeper. Scary. Ain't that scary? Um, I'm just fast forwarding to the next part that I want you guys to listen to. But yeah, it does get deeper. That's the thing that's crazy about it is the fact that we know that it gets deeper than what it is and where we are currently. Um, that just we have literally just the tip of the iceberg at this point. There's so much more of the iceberg that's underneath the water surface that we don't see. Um, and I'm not sure that we're going to get to all of it, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think we're going to get to know every little deep, dirty secret about Diddy, but in just um, the little bit of time that has elapsed between when Cassie came out with her story to now, I mean, we're hearing about things that he had covered up that are now just being blown out and told about and spoken about. Most notably, I mean, the fact that, you have Shine out here talking about what got him in jail, what he sacrificed, but then also feeling like, you know, I think Shine handled it very classy in terms of just what he was able to say and how he responded to the questions that he's been getting. I'll tell you what, though, I cannot wait to hear from Aubrey O'Day. Miss Aubrey O'Day, she needs to have like a sit down, like a nightly news, like a I don't even know if I want Gail to do it. I don't even I have to think about this. I have to think about who I would want her to sit down with because whoever she sits down with, it needs to be somebody who will ask the tough questions and add production value to something that I know is going to be a good get, right? Like whoever lands that interview, it needs to be prime time. It needs to be in a place where many eyes can see it. So network television would be optimal. Um, So yeah, I would love to see what Miss Aubrey O'Day hasn't said yet, but that she can say now. That's an interview. Like let's say they just brought Danity Kane back together just for that. I'd be happy to see that too, because I we already know Dawn has a story to tell. Um, we haven't heard from D Woods in quite some time. I'm pretty sure she has a story to tell. The others, maybe not so much. Like, I don't think Andrea, I don't think Shannon really are going to have a whole lot to say because they managed to stay out of the fray for most of the other girls' careers and stuff. Some of them fell off and went and had families and then, so I don't know, but I'm looking forward to whatever else comes out from this, to be quite honest. We're all staying tuned. Hey Leon. Hey Leon. But yeah, it's such an impactful hot button story because again, this is my childhood. This is my adolescence, I should say. It's not my childhood. It's my adolescence. It's me coming into adulthood. It's growing up in the tri-state area where, it wasn't uncommon to go to an event and see Puffy and see 112 and see Total and see Craig Mack and see Black Rob. All of these people that were under the bad boy helm, you could literally walk past in Manhattan at any given time. Okay. So it hits home for me for that reason, but also for the reason that a lot of my adolescence is wrapped up in the music that came out of this man and whatever he had to do to make that music happen. Going back on
Circle. I know about y'all. Y'all confirmed. You don't got, but see, even with Stevie J, when you got secrets out there of a lifestyle and the lifestyle you really living, it's a community out there that really know you. You can't hide from them. You could come play tough to us because we don't hear nothing about it. We don't hang around the same crowds. They know you. They know what you and Puffy was going on, not just Stevie J. I'm just saying anybody. If you're in that community and you trying to hide something, you could hide it from the street dudes and the thugs and the regular, but they know you.
and that's another point. When you have proximity to a region and there are people that are everyday people like you and me that have personal relationships with either Puffy or people related to Puffy, then there tends to be things that get spoken about that you're just not going to hear in Kansas City. You're just not going to hear in New Mexico. You get what I mean? Just like what Indigo Flow says right here. He says, I used to walk past all types of celebs in Manhattan. That's a natural occurrence. I mean, I did too. You could go to the grill and see Hot 97 DJs. Somebody coming straight from Hot 97 and going, and you could go to cafeteria and see some people. Like there were just things that you I don't think people in other parts of the country really understand how easy it is to bump into a celeb in Manhattan just because that's what Manhattan gave at that time. It doesn't give that anymore, but it did give that at one point. Um, and I think you're a little off with your numbers, Dr. D. I think they defined the late 90s because the No Way Out album came out in 97. I don't think that the influence really came into at that time. I would say from 95 on. So I would say mid to late 90s all the way up until the early 2000s. Bad Boy had it on lock. And then if Bad Boy didn't have it on lock, they had an artist that had it on lock. Feel me? So yeah. Um exactly, Indigo Flow. They didn't really pop until 95. That's why I make mention of the fact that the No Way Out album came out in 97. Um it came out in July of 97 as a matter of fact. So yeah, we were more than halfway through the year by the time the No Way Out album came out. And so that's why it had so much impact even beyond the year 1997. I would say that it picked up steam more so in 98. So at that point, now we're getting ready to get out of the 90s. A time. What a time to be alive.
And that's what a lot of rappers was facing. That's why a lot of them can't defend themselves. You hear them? They be, if I, they can't really say no because they know somebody know you. Somebody know for a fact. Somebody was there with y'all. Somebody he confided in, like as a best friend. You know what I'm saying? That know these rapper secrets. Um, Prayers to Diddy, man. Prayers to him, man. You know, I don't want to kick him out. I'm just ain't that kind of dude. I'm getting mine. Like I say, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. It's a lot of Bible passages that pass through this dude like that. Was it whatever in the dark shall come to the light? That's one we living out right now. It's one he living out more than us.
Okay. So yeah, whatever was done in the dark will eventually come to light, and that's what we're seeing. Another thing that I want to point out here is the fact that I'm not calling Puffy a writer because we all know he didn't write his lyrics. We all know that he didn't come up with the music that he put out. But we can say that inferences were drawn from his life in order to put to wax. And we can say that if we look at some of the lyrics from those songs that he put out at that time, and we look at where he is in life today as we are speaking, there's some correlations, there's some tells. I mean, I was just over on Artisan MC's channel. Shout out to him. He gave me the idea to do a breakdown, a lyrical breakdown. But I was just saying that you know, I just lost my train of thought. I'm human, guys. Sorry. Um but yeah, so we're seeing this all play out. We're seeing oh, that's what I said. I was bringing up the fact that we all remember the Source Awards when Suge Knight got up on stage and was like, "Y'all tired of the producer always in the videos? Come to death row." Like that hits different in 2024. After all of these years, after all of these deaths, after all of this success, it hits very different, the all in the videos line. And I was today years old when I heard people calling TD Jakes Take That Jakes. The TD stands for Take That. Take That Jakes is wild. But he's the one that is on record asking the congregation if they had ever been swallowed up. So I can't even be mad at that nickname, Take That Jakes. I mean, I think even when that was a controversial um, soundbite, it was also telling, right? Because think about the proximity to the time in which that came out and became a soundbite to when Cassie did her lawsuit. Okay. I think Many people knew this was coming and that it was coming soon.
Because for so long, um, you gotta imagine having that money and that power, secrets. He's literally assaulting men. You both. You can't be a gangster. You can't be Omar from the wire, bro. Like you're not that. And it backfired on my boy. Like I say, it's a lot coming out, boy. Check out, it's a rapper coming out with a documentary, and when it come out, everybody gonna be surprised. I think it's man.
Put a one in the chat if you know who that rapper is. Put a one in the chat if you know who the rapper is he just referenced with coming out with something more to see about this. Shout out to Link. Link in the building. Good to see you. Cause I know who that is. I know who the rapper is. It's not a secret. Freddie P probably can't talk about it, but it's definitely not a secret who the rapper is. And I was even saying to Artisan over on his channel that this specific rapper is somebody who is in a very unique position that he can talk about this and remain unscathed because he wasn't operating his business in the same ways that Puffy was. So he really has nothing to worry about. Yeah, he's been in some controversies. Yeah, he's had people try to come after him. But by and large, those things are not scandals. Nobody put a one in the chat. So y'all don't know who he's talking about? Y'all don't know who he's talking about for reals? That's funny. All right, I'm gonna play it again. Hold up.
Wire, bro. Like you're not that. And it backfired on my boy. Like I say, it's a lot coming out, boy. Check out, it's a rapper coming out with a documentary, and when it come out, everybody gonna be surprised. I think it's man,
Two quarters.
that's gonna be that's gonna be the shocker right there. I heard some. I was hearing, and as it was being presented to me, man, I was a, I don't know how to feel sorry for people all the time, but at that moment, I was like, damn, bro, because I was in the same situation. And what if he, ever would have came at me like that? I'd probably be dead or anything. You know what I'm saying?
Cause you know that Freddie P, if you saw the show, then you know that Freddie P was not about to play them games. And he, like he said, he would have ended up dead. Cause I know for a fact that he wouldn't have went down without a fight. Out of everybody on that show, I probably had a crush on Freddie P the most. I thought it was endearing that he was still sucking his thumb at that big age for whatever reason. Don't charge me up. I was also still very young. I was not yet a woman, so I didn't have womanly standards yet. But yeah, I found him quite endearing during the show, and I still do to this day. And as a matter of fact, you'll see that I wrote a comment under the Art of Dialogues um, post just commending Freddie P on his growth because you can see it in just this little bit of the clip that I've played for you guys. You can see how much he's grown as a person. And so I love to see that. And Link is correct. 50 Cent. 50 Cent has a very surviving R. Kelly-esque type documentary that'll be, I think, on Hulu, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Early at the top of 2025. And so that'll be interesting because, like I said, 50 Cent is somebody who has been largely unscathed by most of these types of salacious and scandalous accusations because he just doesn't run his business the way Puff did. Um, yeah, and Indigo Flow said it was going to be his first guest, but it seemed too obvious. I know. But look, if you had to think about it, who else could do a better job? 50 Cent is the pettiest rapper we know, and he's up right now. He's done the work in terms of parlaying a criminal career into a successful rap career, which he then parlayed into brand deals, which he then parlayed into producing television that we're all watching and loving. I just started watching Raising Kanan last week. I know I'm late to the party. Don't charge me up. But I enjoy it. I watched Power. I watched. I haven't watched Tariq yet, or I'm not sure what his version of Power is called, but I haven't watched that yet. But I will after I do Raising Kanan. The whole point is 50 has been successful at each step of the trajectory of his career. And he's made great decision after great decision after great decision, not without its own fallbacks. He's had some setbacks, sure. But I mean, I think this is the perfect person to introduce some things to the public that perhaps previously weren't known. Those of us who grew up on the East Coast, especially in the tri state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, we are privy to a lot of the information I'm sure that's going to come out. But I'm sure there's still stuff that we don't know and don't see. Um, Dr. Dunbar says he wrote a book with Robert Greene, author of the 48 Laws of Power. I know, yes. I'm just saying, I was just doing the Cliff's notes of his accolades, but I know there's far more than what I mentioned. Um, so yeah, 50 Cent gets my respect for sure. I want no smoke with that guy. So let's get back to this. My second to last timestamp, you guys. So then we're going to move on after this, after the next two clips, we're going to move on to the lyric breakdown. BRB.
When it was, he let me in the room, and when I came in the room, I seen Puffy busting. He was getting it in, and he said that's kind of like why he said, and I never sprayed his secret. He said, and that's kind of like why I got to, like I can't even say it because you're gonna know what I'm talking about. But he just told me like that's why everything started falling for me. Everything started happening good with me. That's why me and his relationship still cool. But I want to know. I want to know from the Bentleys. I want to know. Like I know, but I know I don't want to put these people because these people got kids. Like, but I would love for them to just take the time to get that clarity, bro. Like when I cried about my financial situations, that shit helped me a lot. It changed my life actually. Like I was in a suicidal state, and sometimes we just need people to hear us. So if they going through something, I advise them to just get with somebody. And it's not about filing lawsuits or trying to be seen. It's just about having that therapeutic moment, that cleansing, that clarity, and getting that shit out your system.
My argument would be that you can't get something out of your system that you have yet to acknowledge. No matter how much sex you have, it's still not an acknowledgement of that which makes you who you are and what makes you happy. And I'm not calling this man a homosexual. I am saying, though, that if you are partaking in homosexual activities, then that would give meaning to you finding some pleasure in that. And if you are not doing the work to identify why it is you get joy out of that, or why it is you think it is okay to take things from people in order to satisfy that enjoyment, I think that's what Freddie P is getting at with reference to having that clarity, with reference to getting some therapy. But we're far beyond that now. I'm not saying he's beyond redemption, but he has to pay the toll for everything that he's decimated in his path. So this last clip I'm gonna play, we're gonna do about 45 seconds more. Hang on, here we are.
All the people that have been uh, uh, put under the influence, so they don't remember certain things because of who he is. And as long as you're under the influence, it ruins your credibility of speaking about anything. So I can understand why he probably kept drugs in the party. You get what I'm saying? All this behavior falls in line behind one thing, trying to hide secrets. So now you got to use this to cover that, and now this makes you cover for that, and it's just gonna get worse and worse. and worse and worse and worse and worse. It never stops. It's a cycle.
You might hear my grandmother's cat. She's meowing right now for whatever reason. But yeah, so what he said right there was heavy, right? That was heavy. And so my heart does go out to Puffy for that reason, but that reason only. From a humanistic standpoint, I can understand how it might be really hard to come to terms with everything that you've done over the years because we're talking about a career that spans what, 20 years? 25 years? Yeah, just about 25 years because we're in 2024 and No Way Out came out in 97. Almost 30 actually. Excuse me a second cuz I need some gloss. But yeah, this seems like way more to come. When you get a chance, click the link in my description to watch the entire video from The Art of Dialogue. It is a can't miss sit down. I'm just going to be honest with you there. It really is. I enjoyed it. I think you will enjoy it. And let me know what you think. Come back over here and leave me a um a comment underneath this video if you go watch that video. And then make sure you give them a like too because I'm sending you over there because they did such great work and I want them to get credit for it. I want them to get love for it. Um and some subscribers too. Like even though they have way more subscribers than me, it's not about that. It's just about the fact that it was such a compelling interview and sit down that I wanted to share it with my audience as well. So thank you for being here. Dr. Dunbar says, so trust, do you think the romance with J-Lo was just for show? I think it was on his behalf. I think she didn't realize that until it was too late. I think as women, and I'm speaking also more than just being a woman, J-Lo and I are both Leos. So we are romantics. We love love. And so I know that even just by looking at who she's been married to and divorced from and all of the relationships she's gone through publicly, J-Lo loves love. I don't think J-Lo was in it for the show of it all. I think that is a big part of being a Leo, having the show, having the pomp and circumstance. But we all saw that she did the whole my love don't cost a thing. Um, you think she wasn't talking about Puffy? Think you gotta give me ice you don't? You think you gotta send me cash? Whatever she said, I don't remember the lyrics. I was never a J-Lo fan. Okay. There's this thing that exists between J-Lo and Mariah. And if you know me, you know I love Mariah. And there was never a time where I was like, J-Lo, Mariah. No, it was always Mariah, Mariah, Mariah. So I've never been a fan of J-Lo's music career. I think she's good at it, at acting and dancing, and that she should have left it at that. But I digress. That's not what you asked me. I do think that it was for show for him because I think at that time he was already aware of and understanding that he liked men, but that he could not make that part of his public persona. And so she was a uber feminine woman who was coveted by the public merely for what she looked like. Another Leo thing. We tend to be really attractive. Uh But yeah, so I think she was last to the party for that. And then that's really, aside from the criminal behavior, I think that's what really led to their demise and breakup. I hope that answered your question. So now I'm going to go into um, Puff Daddy and the Family's No Way Out. We're going to get into the song Is This the End? The lyrics. Now, this is from genius.com. And sometimes they have great and on point lyrics, but sometimes they don't. So this song had a hook that was sung by Genuine, and I'm not going to focus so much on the chorus as much as I'm going to focus on the verses. Um, as you can see them on the screen. Maybe you can't read them. I'm sorry about the ads along the sides. I'm not sure how to get rid of those, but he says sometimes I'll be waking up at high noon saying, "Why me, Lord?" Folks thinking I'ma die soon. I just tell 'em keep seeking. But when they sleeping, I be concealed up in my room knowing that it could happen. I'm just trying to maintain because the future is untold. Till the static unfolds that the good die young. Please, God, let a bad boy die old. Do you think I want to lie cold? Or better yet, have many shots come close to the head, shirt soaked till it's red? The most that was said was that my homies had a toast to the dead. Do I need pack a vest for stress so I can rest? 'Cause even though I'm blessed in my flesh, it all came down to a test. A motherfucker wanna go and put a tech to my chest. Now I'm caught up in the mix and I can't do shit. But still, I can't ride with program fearing no man. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there for a second because like you clearly are fearing a man. You're fearing yourself. That's one man you're fearing. But you're fearing other men because you don't want them to know how caught up in the mix you are and that you can't do anything about it. See, this was very telling at the time, but it wasn't what anybody was thinking. But reading it now, it's so obvious, right? Hit the car door, let the door slam. It's a blessing that he had slow hands. But he's still right behind me. All these heartless fools is steady coming after my pee. Okay? What's your pee? What's your pee, Puffy? That's what I want to know. What's your pee? Coming after your pee? I'm just saying. So many phony niggas loving to hate Sean. So many cheddar niggas coming after my cheese. Is it my car that they're losing? Or are we all for the choosing? Or is it all in confusion? Better yet, all in illusion. Boom. Is it all in confusion? Better yet, all in illusion. All right. So he's telling us, but he's not telling us. And I'm not saying he wrote these lyrics, but they hit close to home. They are hitting. These lyrics are hitting. You can't lie to me and tell me that they're not. All right. Shots rang through the hall, bullets cruising for bruising. Don't let this heartless bastard take my life away. I don't want to conceive taking his either or either. Dipped into the back and took a breather. Heard steps steadying closing with the bullet skeezer. Gotta do something. I ain't scared to go, but yet my heart is steady pumping for something. I refuse to be the one that they be dumping. Gotta get away before the techs start gunning. Bodies start jumping, wrecking my brain not to try to understand, but withstand. Is it 'cause I'm a rich man? Or is it trying to put a brother down in the dirt like quicksand? But no matter what the reason, I don't want to stop breathing. There's dreams to fulfill still. Can't compete 'em with a still kill. Face to face with enemies still grill. Forgive me for the pain I've caused and the sins I've committed. Even though I'm not hoping to go, I wish somebody would open the door. This man's holding the trigger and his fingers steady choking it slow. Is this the end? Then Carl Thomas and Genuine sing on the hook again, which is a whole nother thing, but I'm not getting into that. Verse 2. Did I just hear a tech jam? Now it's on. Let me make my maneuver. Hit the alley. Saw this man in a Land Cruiser. In his hand was a Ruger. Dipped in a Lex like Luger. Heard shots from a steel bruiser. Teflon in the seat took a pale stress. Felt the hate on my chest as I placed on my vest. What's wrong with the brakes in the LX? Ran straight into a light pole just before I got my life stole. A car came to the rescue. I bailed in and said, "Bless you." But what made me the man you would want to show help to? I proceeded to ask him, and he said with a passion. Verse 3 is Twister. So I'm not going to read um, through that, but this is a song about lamenting his life. And I think it's important to note that, you know, art imitates life. You see that all the time. But in this case, the chickens are coming to home to roost well after these lyrics. I mean, think about it. We're talking about, okay, let's do some quick math. 28 years ago, 97 was? And I'm not even saying that the song was written in 97. That's when it was released because that's when the album was released. My grandmother just walked into the room. She's commenting on my setup. Yeah, because I'm in the living room, like I said earlier. Yeah, Indigo Flow was like, I was just gonna ask you who wrote the lyrics. So we can guess that Twista probably wrote some of those lyrics. I'm pretty sure that Carl Thomas probably wrote some of those lyrics. I don't know Genuine to be a writer, but yeah, probably Stevie J too. I mean, I think that it was a group effort back in those days. And it didn't matter because um the precedent was placed on the music at that time. And if when you listen back to stories about how Puffy was running the label at that time, I think he ran it with an iron fist, but he also did it by leveraging his weight around and his resources to get things done even when people didn't want to do them. I mean, go back into that interview with Freddie P. He drops a lot of bombs. you know Go to the art of dialogue and watch the complete interview for more, because I didn't want to go through the whole thing because it wasn't my interview, but I did want to share it with you guys because it was something that popped up in my algorithm this morning. And like I said, there's probably lots of stories in your algorithm right now about reporting on Diddy, but this was one that was really worth the sit down. Shout out to Better You in the building. He says, Hola, hola, hope you are doing well. Hola, ¿cómo está? Estoy bien. I had to pull out some of my Texas Spanish earlier today when I went to the store because the store I went to is ran mostly by Mexican and Puerto Ricans. And so the East Coast Spanish is very different from Texas Spanish, but there's some words that just don't change, right? And luckily, I was able to pull out some of those just to get through my transaction today. But yeah, that was all I wanted to get to today with reference to the whole Diddy of it all. I think that again, there's so much more to come, so much more that we're going to be seeing in the future. Um, and I'm here for it all. I like I said, I didn't say this part earlier, but now that I've had a chance to think about it, I think the person that I would love to see Aubrey O'Day sit down and talk to is Wendy Williams. Even though I don't know what kind of mental state Wendy Williams is in right now, I am really hopeful that she can rise to the occasion because there's literally no one else that can cover this. No, like other people can cover it, sure, but Wendy's been telling us about Puffy for a long time, and he did everything he could to diminish her, and it didn't work. So shout out to Wendy for that, because I think more than anything, I think that's the part of the story that we're never really going to know the full scope of. Everything that Puffy did to her to keep her down, everything that we saw about her that was less than savory, that he had a hand in bringing to our attention. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, she did. But everything she said was true. Even if we didn't have proof at the time. That's why it hit back then. Because most people were like, listening on the radio to her talk about this and like, what? Are you serious? Like, he's the gay rapper? What? Yeah, exactly. I remember it like I could hear it. I just heard it yesterday. I remember it like that. One could argue that she wouldn't have had the lengthy radio career that she had if she hadn't broke that story, because that became her brand after that. It was like, okay, what can I expose? She would read blind items. I didn't know what a blind item was until she started reading them. The Panache report. I mean, she had sources. There's another rapper that she talked about having proclivities like Sean's, a rapper that I love very much. She talked about him too. She had people who were calling her on the radio back in the day to tell her of their experiences with these people. So again, this is why I say if you didn't grow up in the tri-state area, if you weren't a teenager slash adult during the late 90s, early 2000s, you may have not heard some of the things that we were just privy to just by location, just by proximity. Yeah, eventually Wendy became syndicated in other places, but this was long after the gay rapper thing. This was long after she was getting people calling up to the station and anonymously providing information about these people. And ultimately, it got her in the purple chair, which I hope to see her back at the helm of. I'm putting that out into the universe. I would love to see her back at the helm of that purple chair. If anybody would like to join me, the link is in the chat. You are welcome to do so. I don't have any more to put on the subject. I did want to also give you guys a lock update. Hang on a second. Someone just sent me a link. What? Nonsense. Yeah. Anyway, um, sorry. If you want to join me, please click the link. Otherwise, I'm going to shut this live stream down. Dr. Dunbar. Hey, Dr. D. How's it going?
Hello, lovely trust. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
Wait a minute. I'm gonna leave and come back. I can't hear you. Hold on.
Okay. Okay. He's going to leave and come back. I want to give you guys a lock update. So I'm going to take this off. Oh, hold on. Hey, Dr. D. I just want to.
I'm gonna turn the TV on because I can't hear you for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
All right. Hey, Dr. D. I just want to turn the TV on because I can't hear you for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Technical difficulties. So.
All right. So I guess there might be a little bit of a delay.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to give me 1 second. I'll be right back. So, I just muted his mic so you guys can't hear me. But I just want to shake them for a minute and show you, like, here's where they're at. I've got a little hang time. This is for you, DJ Kuda, because he said he wanted to see a lock update. So this is what they're doing. This is what they're looking like. I just retwisted them last week. So they're behaving really nicely right now. And I'm getting some length on them. So I'm very happy with my locks. And I'm going to bring Dr. Dunbar back. Hi, Dr. D. Sorry about that.
Okay. I don't know why I can't hear you through my phone. So I will. Someone in the chat said they can hear me. Okay.
Yeah, we
I'll
can
be
hear
short.
you.
This is a funny story, Trust.
Okay.
So I'm an upstate New Yorker. So we got everything after you guys did. So you guys, all the music hit downstate first.
Yeah.
And then it would hit our one black music station in Buffalo, and then all the New York City kids who come up for college. We get the culture through them. So I remember one summer we went to go visit my dad. Let me slow down. We went to go visit my dad in Albany, the Albany area, and my grandmother came up to spend time with us as she often did. And I remember this was late '80s. This was like late '80s, early '90s before Ready to Die hit, before Bad Boy really came out. And I remember my grandmother told us, she was cooking for us, she said there was a shooting at a gymnasium in New York City, and Puff Daddy was there. Puff Daddy was there. And me and my brother were looking at each other like, she said Heavy D was there too, but she said Puff Daddy was there. Puff Daddy, Puff Daddy, Puff Daddy. And we were thinking, man, what does our grandmother know about hip hop music? And who is Puff Daddy? We don't know who Puff Daddy is. And so a few years later, that's when he blew up, and that's when it hit in upstate New
Yep.
York as
Yep.
well. So that's like you said, it they very much, when Bad Boy was hitting, they very much defined an era
Mhm.
and a point in time. And I haven't been following this closely, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal because you hate to
It
see
is.
he made music that made all of us feel good. Okay,
Yeah.
Biggie made music that made all of us feel good. Mace,
Agreed.
Total,
Agreed.
Craig Mack,
Agreed.
and just to see this happen to him, I hope at least that part of his life is not tarnished, because they made music that made all of our lives better. But I'm cooking my breakfast for dinner here, so and I can't, for some reason I
Tell
can't
me
hear you
tell
through my
me
phone, so I'm
what it
gonna
is
drop and
before
I'm
you
gonna
go.
listen
I want to know what it is
to the
before
rest of
you
the
go.
conversation. Have a good night.
Aw, you're not gonna tell me what. Aw, I guess he couldn't hear me. I wanted to know what it was. I don't wanted to know what he was eating. But all good. Thanks for joining, Dr. Dunbar. I'm glad you were able to hit the link and impart your memories of that era. Um, yeah, the Stampede. And that's the thing. Many people don't know this, but at the time that that all happened, we knew he was guilty. Even when the shooting happened at I forget where it was now. But even when the shooting happened, we knew he was the one busting his gun. Everybody here knew about that, and we were just waiting to see if he was going to get charged. But he was able to usurp those charges. He was able to go on and continue to have more of a career. It's now 2024 and he's just now seeing bars. So yeah, much more to come out of this. I will be staying tuned, but remember you heard it here. I want to see Wendy sit down with Aubrey O'Day. Too bad we're not going to get to sit down with Kim Porter. Rest in peace to that lady. Um, just a little bit that I've heard in terms of the audio, I mean the book leak. There's some crazy, scary things going in with that. Uh, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see who else is connected to these Diddy stories. We already heard Usher's name, Neo's name, Stevie J. Um, Many people are saying it's par for the course in the industry. That is an industry I want no part of. No, thank you. I'm good. I've never wanted to be in that industry, but at the same time, it's just like I love music, and um, while I'm not saying I'll never listen to a Bad Boy record again, because I can't. That was my whole point for bringing up the fact that it's such a big part of my adolescence. I cannot then turn my back on it. This is these are songs that are stamped in my history. Dr. Dunbar said he has turkey bacon, 3 eggs, hash browns, and Eggo waffles. That's a good, well-rounded breakfast for dinner. That's a yeah. Now, I just hope it's not Jenny O turkey bacon, because Jenny O turkey bacon, you might as well just slice up some cardboard. Um, there's some really good turkey bacon out there that's thick cut and hickory smoked that won't make you miss pork bacon at all. That's the kind of turkey bacon I like. But that Genio, that butterball, hard pass. Just not good. Just not yummy. Better Use says 1,000 bottles of baby oil and 784 dildos. Only the most wicked diabolical work was being done. I mean, you could say that. That's one way of looking at it. But the other way of looking at it is that maybe there was lots of fun being had. Maybe not your kind of fun, maybe not my kind of fun, but whoever was involved, it could have been their kind of fun, right? I think as a society, Americans are very prude when it comes to the conversation of sex and pleasure. So much so that we put boundaries there when if I could think of any arena in which boundaries should be left at the door, I would say that it should be intimacy, sex, whatever gets you off. When you think about how hard we work as people, I think it's important for us to have outlets, and one of them being sex is something that you could healthily explore within the confines of a relationship with someone that you trust. Now, I'm not saying that all of these things that were happening with what Better You is referencing was under the helm or an umbrella or a barrier of trust and safety. I'm not saying that at all. I'm merely pointing out, though, that when you are of that status and you have that much access to resources to make things like this happen on a large scale, it's going to look a lot different than what you and I are used to. It's going to look a lot different than what we would feel comfortable with. But when I think when you have so much at your fingertips, and many of these people were people who were used to being in rooms where life changing money was just being passed around. So we're looking at it as a when if I put like 7 zeros in your account right now and you were let off to just go do whatever you wanted to do with that, this might not look so crazy. It might not. I'm just saying. I don't know because I don't live that life yet. Yet. But when I do, I'm going to have lots of clean fun. Lots of it. Uh, he said P. Diddy kept him to smell him. Lord, Lord. Right. Over in Rio de Janeiro, he did mispronounce the F out of that word. Um, Swimming in women with their own condominiums. But anyway, thank you guys all for showing up for me today. It's been a lovely hour. I hope you click the link in my description to go watch the entire interview and form your own opinion and leave a comment and a like over at the Art of Dialogue. And you guys know how I like to end my streams. It's always with peace, always with ease, and ultimately whatever you please. All right? Peace.